Quite often you'll find one of these projects to print, and after you get through printing it, you'll find out it has some inherent weakness. This takes about 9 hours to print. If it breaks on you, that's fairly disappointing, and oftentimes you can repair it rather than throw it away and print it again. If you print it again, it'll probably just break again. In this particular case, this was printed in this orientation, and the layers are being laid in, and there's a definite lamination right across here where these little mounting tabs are, and it's quite weak, and these will very easily snap off when you go to screw this onto a wall. That wall or that surface may not be absolutely perfectly flat, and this will get in a little bit of a bind and it'll snap this off, and that's what happened to me. In my case, I took some epoxy, or you could use construction adhesive, and down inside here is all of the inlay structure, which in itself is not that strong on this, but you can push glue down in there and push glue up inside this piece, put that back together and put a clamp on it and let that cure out. And I took a piece of scrap plywood. This is 1/8 inch Baltic birch plywood, little 1/8 inch square stick, and that's just to allow this thing to butt up against it. And then I draw an outline around this. Now I'm going to rough cut that on the bandsaw. I want to glue these two pieces together. I'm going to use construction adhesive. It may adhere to this for a while, but this is very smooth and it'll probably just peel off of there given time. Using a Dremel tool, I ground all these holes in here, and that will give some tooth to the construction adhesive when I push it in there and smooth it out and attach it to this plywood. Now I'll use a flush trim bit to cut that plywood flush with this plastic surface. When this is printed, the internal structure on this is a 20% infill. You can see that on camera. And actually a 20% infill on this is probably stronger than a 35%. Sometimes the infill is very disjointed and doesn't make for a very strong structure. So that's something you can play with on your slicing program. But these batteries are not very heavy, and this plastic piece in the back, this is all bonded together quite strong. You have a skin across the top and a bottom, and these surfaces are crosshatched at 90 degrees to each other when they're laid in. So it's a lot stronger than what this joint right here was for these little mounting tabs. When you put the screws in here, you just make sure that you don't crush this. This actually has a layer of plastic around this hole which stiffens that a little bit. These batteries are not terribly heavy, and that does not have to be tightened very tight. Screw it to the wall. And that will be strong enough. The battery holder has since been redrawn. This is longer and thicker to make it stronger. They put a countersink screw hole in here, and it's a little bit taller than the original. Gives a little more material on either side of that screw hole. This is thicker to move this further away from the wall to make sure that the 4 and 6 amp hour battery packs had adequate clearance after this has been attached. It will hold multiple 4 and 6 amp hour battery packs, and these go in and out real easy. The new design is much better.